Hello there, thank you for joining me for today's practice. Today is a yin practice that's designed to help with fatigue. So we will do a couple of twists, so opening up the spine, because usually we feel a bit sluggish when we're tired. So we'll try to open up the spine, particularly around the upper body. And we'll also do a little bit of breath work, and with the twists and opening up the upper body, hopefully that'll start to bring a little bit more oxygen and space into the body. Okay, so for today's practice, if you've got a block, a bolster, a blanket, that would be really great. If you don't, just have some really firm cushions or pillows, anything that you feel like might be able to support you in the poses. You don't have to have them, but they can just feel really lovely in the practice. So make sure you feel nice and comfortable. I'm going to stay warm with my socks. Make sure you can pop a top on if you'd like to as well. And then let's make a start. So first of all, grabbing your block if you've got one. If you don't and you've got your cushions or your bolster, feel free to use that. Pop your block just in between your feet. If you can, the shin bones are going to be down on the mat, tops of the feet down. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, then just come into a cross-legged position, completely fine. And take a few moments to settle into your seat. And then let's cup the left hand into the right, tips of the thumbs lightly touching. And when you're ready, closing down your eyes. Taking these first few moments to gather and center. Bringing all of yourself to this moment. Start to notice any sensation with the body and the mat and the block underneath you. So that pressing down the shin bones, pressing down through the tops of the feet, sitting bones, resting down to the block or into your cushions. And that gentle pressure down, complemented by a sense of lifting up and out through the spine. Just picturing the entire spinal column, all the way from the base, the tailbone, the sacrum, the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, and the neck. And with each breath in, imagine space being created along the entire spinal column, so in between each vertebra, growing up and out through the crown of the head. And the head, the skull floating on top of the spine. Tips of the shoulders dropping away from the ears. And bring the attention to the breathing. Just allowing the breath to be easy. And if for any reason it's not feeling easy, that's okay as well. So just noticing where the breath's at right now. And then gently starting to lengthen into your breathing. Slowing down the inhale through the nose. And slowing down the exhale out through the nose as well. And just continue to gently lengthen into your breathing. Let's all take one big breath together, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. On your next inhale, let's count for 1, 2, 3, 4. Little pause at the top. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Exhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhaling 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just continue on your own, trying to inhale for 6, pause, exhaling for 8. If for any reason that feels too much for you, just drop it back. You could drop back to 5 in, 5 out, or just keep it even, 6 in, 6 out. This last couple of rounds here. Next time you exhale, just completely let it go. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just one more time like that. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just allow the breathing to settle back into its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. And then let's gently open up the eyes. Start to come off your block and grab your bolster. So whenever we extend the exhale a little bit longer than the inhale, we're really activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're trying to bring in that rest and digest response into the body. That's why that longer exhale is really beneficial, okay, for rejuvenating. So we're going to take a supported down facing dog. We have a couple of more active poses, not too many, but this is a really lovely pose that's a little bit active but is quite supported as well. So coming over your bolster slightly, come onto your hands and knees, spreading into the hands, tuck the toes under, and then lift the hips up, start to press your hips back towards your feet, and then finding the bolster with the top of your forehead and the top of your head, so sort of a halfway point there. Keep pressing down through the knuckles of the middle finger. If you need to keep your knees bent here, then please feel free. If you feel okay and drawing those heels down, try to press the weight back into the legs. Muscles at the base of the neck, drawing away from the ears. An even breath in and even breath out. Just allow the eyes to be steady. Just 3 more breaths. And then let's come down onto the knees. Open the knees out wide, big toes together. You can bring the bolster in a little bit closer towards you, and then we're just going to rest down into our child's pose on the bolster. You could stack one hand on top of the other, pop the forehead down. Feel free to close the eyes. Just imagine the breathing reaching all the way down into the lower back and the back of the pelvis. Allowing the hips to be heavy. And letting go of any unnecessary tension. And feeling supported by the bolster and the ground underneath you. And starting to make your way back up to a seated position. And let's pop the bolster off to the side for now. And coming into a seated position, we'll come into our cross-legged position here. And we'll start with the right leg in front of the left. So I'll just be mirroring you. Now this is somewhere where you might want to sit up a little bit high, so feel free to grab your blanket and sit up a little bit higher, or your cushions. And we want to try to overcross the legs a little bit. So we don't want the heels to be really close in towards us. We want them a little bit further away. We want to walk the feet a little bit further away as well. So it's when we look down, we're trying to create a bit more of a box shape. Try to flex the feet. And you can choose to either stay with that front leg down on the ground or bring it up. So you're trying to stack shin bone to shin bone. Yeah, so this is that fire log position, or double pigeon as it's sometimes called as well. I've got a bit of space here, so what you can do is you can pop a block under there or fold up your blanket and pop it there as well. If you feel like you need that support. When I start going forward, it's going to start to come down, so I'm going to not use a block. And we'll just start upright for a few breaths. Let's stay here for 5 breaths. Think about lengthening up through both sides of the body. Focusing on that even breath in and even breath out. Start to come a little bit further forward. So what you could do is just pop one hand onto the inside, just around on the inside of the knee, and one in front of the ankle, and start to lean forward. So you want to try to have a bit of a longer spine to begin with here. And again, you might find this is enough. If you would like to, you can start to bring the hands down and start to walk your hands forward. So just coming forward to where you can. You might be staying upright. This can be a very strong position. And in Yin Yoga, we often say, find your edge and then soften. And so we're trying to find that spot where we're not overdoing it. We are feeling sensation and working through a little bit of resistance, but we're still able to breathe easily and comfortably. In some poses, it might be more of a struggle than others. If your arms are really extended, you might want to soften them down. You could even pop a block underneath your head and just let yourself fold down. If you feel comfortable, closing down your eyes. And then gently starting to make your way back up if you're a bit further forward. Keep the legs as they are for now if you can. Coming all the way back upright. Well, we're going for a twist in this position. So turning to your right, back of the left hand to the outside of that right thigh, and turning to look over the right shoulder. Now this could be plenty for you. Please feel free to stay here. If you would like to go a little bit deeper, we're going to hook that left elbow onto the outside of the thigh and then try to bring the palms of the hands into your prayer position. We're turning the chest to the right, palms of hands sealing together. The breath will feel a bit more restricted here, but try to soften into the breathing. One more full breath. And then gently release, coming back to center. And then let's extend those legs out long. Let the feet fall away from one another and have the hands a little bit further back behind you. Just take a little moment here, just letting the legs relax, let the hips relax, closing down the eyes. Just observing the body as it unwinds. And then opening up the eyes. And then let's go to the other side. So we're going to go with the left leg in front now. So find that cross-legged position to begin with, and try to walk the feet a little bit further out, shin bones a bit further away, flexing through the feet, and then taking that left shin on top if that feels available. One thing I forgot to mention before is to try not to let that ankle really roll as much as you can. It can be quite tricky. Try to keep that top foot flexed so we're not overstretching the outside of the ankle. And then let's start by being upright for 5 breaths. And then gently starting to shift the pelvis forward, placing a hand on the inside of the knee, on top of the ankle, starting to tilt forward, very light pressure, the inside of that leg. And then maybe bringing those hands down. And if it's available, you can start to come a bit further forward. You might notice that one side feels different to the other, so maybe more open on this side or tighter on this side. And just respecting the possible differences. Remembering that there's nothing to achieve here. Just allowing yourself to be. And if you'd like to really soften those arms, if you're able to bring those arms a bit further down, you could let your head just curl down. Remembering that even breath in and even breath out. And then starting to walk the hands back up, keeping the legs as they are. Inhale, as you exhale, taking a twist to your left, back of the right hand to the outside of the thigh, hand behind you and looking over that left shoulder. And remember, you might be staying here. If you want to try this variation and hook that right elbow over that left thigh, bring the palms of the hands together, coming into your prayer position, keeping those forearms straight so it acts as a bit of a lever to help you twist. Just with each exhale, maybe very gently seeing if there's any more space. Soft face. One more full breath. And then inhale, coming out of that. And just take your time. Extend the legs out long. Hands behind you, fingers pointing back. Just letting the feet fall away from one another. Closing down the eyes. And then let's open up the eyes. Grab your bolster, or if you've got cushions, grab your cushions, and just popping it up towards the top third of your mat. And we're going to think about the left rib cage lying down onto the bolster. You can stack one leg on top or just that top foot behind. I'm going to lie down on my left side. So lying that rib cage down, extend that left arm down onto the ground, let your head rest down. If you feel like you need more support for your head, you could pop a blanket in between this bottom arm and your head. If you feel okay, just let the head drop down, extend that right arm up and over, and then take hold of your top wrist, so your right wrist. And we're going to just gently lengthen that right wrist away from you. So we're really opening up through that right upper body into the right armpit and upper arm. And also into, you might feel it in your side body, down into your lower back. Closing down the eyes, if you feel comfortable to do so. And as you stay with your breathing, notice if there's any unnecessary effort that you can let go of. Maybe you've got a little bit of space to lengthen the inhale and lengthen the exhale. This last few breaths here. Gently release that top arm. Just placing that right hand down, using it to help yourself come up, and that left hand to help you come up as well. Turning to face the top of your mat. I'm going to keep the bolster behind, and we're going to lie back on the bolster. Upper back is lying down onto the bolster. You might need to wriggle around to find the right position so your head can be supported by the mat. If you need to pop a blanket or a block underneath here, then feel free. So if you don't feel comfortable lying back, I'm going to try to get the bolster more on the upper back rather than the lower back, so you can open up the chest. If you feel comfortable, let's extend the legs out long and just letting the feet fall away from one another. Just closing down the eyes. Allowing the arms to be heavy. And noticing, observing any feelings or emotions, thoughts that might be coming up in this position. You know, open up the chest like this. It does make you feel quite vulnerable at times. And so just noticing that. And if there is anything challenging coming up for you, just seeing if you can use your breath just to meet that discomfort. And on the exhale, trying to soften. And part of the practice is being able to listen in and tune in, notice how we're feeling, and occasionally sitting with those uncomfortable feelings or sensations that we might normally just distract ourselves in some way. This last couple of breaths here. To come out of it, let's interlace the hands at the base of the head. So I just want you to just lift the head up first. So you're using some support and then placing the hands, the elbows, onto the bolster and coming all the way up. And then we'll just go to the other side. So we're going to turn around, placing the rib cage onto the bolster, lying down on our right side, extending that right arm long, and then taking that left arm up and over, holding onto the left wrist, and then we're just extending that left arm up and over and away from us. And if you feel comfortable, closing the eyes. And just noticing, we want that sense of lengthening out of the shoulder, but at the same time we don't want to be hunched up, so we want to try to drop the muscle at the base of that left ear away. The last couple of breaths here. And gently starting to release that top wrist, and using that left hand to start to press yourself up, and bring that right hand in to help you come up to a seated position. And we're going to repeat our supported fish pose. So coming down once again onto the bolster, placing that upper back onto the bolster, let the head relax back and letting the arms just open out. And when you feel comfortable extending those legs out, let the feet fall away from one another. Just letting go of anything that you don't need here. And sense of surrendering the weight of the body. With each exhale, letting go. Three more full breaths here. And then, just like we did the first time, to come out of it, let's interlace the hands at the base of the head, using the hands to help lift up the head. And then elbows onto the bolster, using your hands to come all the way up to a seated position. Bend the knees up, and we'll take hold of the opposite wrist, either one, doesn't matter, and just let yourself curve forward, let the head relax. And for 5 full breaths here. And then opening up the eyes, coming up to an upright position. Just turn your bolster around so it's lengthways now. We're going to prepare to take half saddle. So you can extend that right leg long. Give yourself a little bit of space so the bolster's not right up against the back of the pelvis and lower back, and keep the lower back long. And then let's bring this left foot back behind, left toes pointing back behind you. And then onto your hands, just leaning back. If lying back is not an option for you, then feel free to stay upright. That's completely fine. If you're feeling like your knee's really high, you could pop a blanket under here to give it, a bit more support. And then if you are going back, just starting to lie back onto the bolster. And you could choose to keep your arms down by your side, palms facing up, or take the elbows up above the head. It's a bit more of an opener for the upper body. If your arms are down by your side, just letting the shoulder tips drop down towards the ground. Palms facing up. Very lightly scanning the body and noticing if there's anything you can let go of. And for some of us, it might even be helpful to repeat an internal mantra on the exhale. So as you exhale, saying to yourself, let go. And you can use that whenever you need to. Whenever you notice the mind's drifted away, gently bring it back to the breathing. Allowing yourself to be right here with this breath. And this breath. Last few moments here. And starting to open up the eyes and very gently making your way up. So if you're down, placing the forearms down, lifting the head up, using your hands to come up. And use that right hand so you can shift over onto the right and take that left leg out long in front of you. Just let the legs, give them a little bit of a wriggle out. Lengthen up through the spine. And take a moment, fingers pointing backwards, feet falling away from one another. Just taking a few breaths. opening up the eyes, and let's prepare to go to the other side. We're going to bring this right foot back behind, toes pointing back. Left leg is long. I'm trying to encourage that right hip to drop down, remembering you can pop a blanket underneath that right knee. Starting to lean back. And this might be plenty for you, and you can stay here. And then if you are going a little bit further, then you can start to bring the back down onto the bolster. And again, your choice, either allowing the arms to relax down, palms facing up, taking hold of the elbows above the head. If you did take this pose or this position with the arms, then just try to alternate the way that you held your elbows. And again, as you might notice when we swap from one side to the other, there might be a little bit of a difference. You might feel like this side is easier or a little bit more challenging, or feel more unbalanced. And there's no judgment about that, or just noticing. Trying to allow that right sitting bone to be heavy down towards the ground. And remembering you can use that mantra on the exhale. Let go. Whenever you need it. Sometimes we notice some unconscious holding. It might be in the shoulders or the back of the neck or the face, and we soften and we let it go. And then you might notice that that little bit of tension has just crept in again, and again you're just letting it go. This continuous process of surrendering and becoming more and more relaxed with each exhale. I will mention sometimes in these yin poses, actually the sensation will become more intense as you stay in the pose, and so you might not be feeling more relaxed. You might be working with very strong sensations, and in that situation you're really just using your breathing, noticing where your edge is. If you need to come out a little bit, you can always come out. If you can, you stay with your breathing and notice where you can soften. Last few breaths here. And opening up the eyes, coming onto your forearms, lifting the head, and then starting to put weight into your hands to lift all the way up. Shift the weight into that left hand, bring that right leg forward and give the legs a little bit of a wriggle out here. And we're going to come forward into our caterpillar pose as a counter to our half saddle. And if you would like to use your bolster, then feel free to pop your bolster in front of you. We'll just hold it for about a minute. So if you feel comfortable without the bolster, then feel free, just sliding down the legs, allowing the spine to curve forward. Allowing gravity to gently coax the body down. And then inhale, coming back upright. Pop the bolster off to the side. Make your way down onto your back. Feet hip distance apart. Arms down by your side for a moment. Take a couple of breaths, just letting everything settle back down onto the mat. And then we're going for our twist here, our supine twist. We're going to cross the right leg over the left and then lift the hips up, take them slightly over to the right and wrap that right foot underneath the left calf and then letting the legs drop over to the left. You could pop a bolster underneath your legs if you want a little bit more of a supported pose. If you're okay to just let the legs drop down, go for it. Left hand on top of that right thigh for a bit of extra weight, and then you can open up that left arm out to the side, maybe turning the eyes to look slightly over to the right, allowing that right shoulder to be heavy. And remembering that in the twists, we usually feel a little bit more restricted in our breathing, but at the same time, just continuing to try to be full with the breath, even though it's a little bit more shallow. Last 5 breaths, just noticing if there's anywhere to let go here. And then taking an inhale. Bring everything back to center, uncross the legs. And take a moment to bring the hips back towards the middle. Just centering yourself, feet flat on the mat. And then going the other way, so crossing that left leg over the right, lift the hips up slightly, take them to the left, and then option to wrap that left foot underneath the right calf, and then dropping the knees over to the right, allowing that left arm to extend open, and the right hand can be on top of that left thigh, and maybe the head turns slightly to look over towards the left. Thinking about that left sitting bone trying to move away from the left shoulder, so we're trying to open up that left side waist in the twist as well. Trying to keep that light attention on your breathing. Staying with the body and staying with the breath. Last 5 breaths, noticing if there's any way you can let go. And gently start to bring everything back to the center. Uncross the legs. Bring the hips back towards the center as well. Feet flat on the mat, feet parallel. Just to even out the pelvis. And pop the palms face down and then lift the hips up, coming into your, just a little bridge. So don't make it a big one. Taking an inhale and then exhale. Bring the hips back down. And then just to finish off and even out the hips again, we're going to hug the knees in, inner edges of the feet and inner thighs together. Relax the tips of the shoulders down. Taking one more big inhale. Stay for the exhale, squeeze the legs in a little bit more. And then let's release the feet down and extending the legs away long. This is somewhere you might want to pop a bolster underneath your knees for our Shavasana. And take your time to make yourself feel comfortable. Bolster or rolled up blanket underneath the knees. You could pop a blanket underneath the head, just to raise the head up slightly. Some people that feels a bit more supported. Allow the arms to just relax down by your side. Palms facing up. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just allow the breath to rest back into its natural rhythm. Completely surrendering the weight of the body. Feeling that back surface of the body imprint itself underneath you. And allowing those points of contact to get a little bit heavier with each exhale. And coming to rest. Please stay resting here for as long as you would like to. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice. Namaste.